Hey, Mom Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Live and Learn. We have a very familiar face with us today. Oh, look, it is my co-host for Untying the Knot and also co-admin for our Divorce Community Sister Mom Nation group, the very famous. Uh,
Hello. Thank you for having me again.
Of course, it's always nice to see your beautiful face. And honestly, this topic is such a much needed conversation because, as maybe simple as it sounds, it's not so simple to name your core emotions, Miranda. So,
No.
I'm super excited to have you here on the pod today to talk about the 8 core emotions. And I kind of feel like as the little intro to the show was going, that Disney movie popped into my head. What Disney movie am I thinking about?
Inside Out. Inside Out?
Yes.
Inside Out. Yeah.
Where the bowling balls are the core memories and the core emotions are controlling the human.
Well, and it's such a
Pretty
good
accurate.
point because as moms, we're hyper focused on our kids and how they're feeling and what are they going through and they're experiencing. And a lot of times we're trying to tell them it's okay to feel your emotions or what are you feeling? But we're not feeling our own. We don't know what our own are. So we're trying to pump in what we want them to do that we can't even do for ourselves. And not only is it kind of comical because we don't do it for ourselves, but also they're like, what are you talking about? You don't acknowledge your emotions or you're not calm or you're not whatever. So they kind of roll their eyes at it, I think.
Out of the mouths of babes. I mean, honestly, right? Like the truth is there. And as I think about it, I'm like, well, why don't we have this conversation more? Why aren't we well versed in our own emotions, right? And I can't think of a time. It certainly, didn't come from being raised. I certainly didn't learn it there, right? It was more like suppress your emotions. You don't need to have those. Just, do good in school and shut up. That was, basically my childhood. But then as we get older, where is that opportunity unless we enter the therapy world? Maybe we learn about it there, right? Maybe. What other opportunities do we have as adult people, especially before we start having babies, right? Where do we learn this? Where do we learn to identify what we're feeling, why? And when we have mixed feelings, how do we
means.
Right, exactly. And I can't think of a time in my life where that opportunity has been presented without me having to go after it.
Well, and I tell you, even if the opportunity is presented to you, if you're not available to hear it or you're not in a safe enough environment, it won't mean anything.
Yeah.
So that's one. Two, you can do all the learning that you want. I'm consider myself a professional student. I'm always signing up for courses and listening to podcasts and doing things. So I have the knowledge, which is step one, right? That's cool. But if you don't understand how it works within you and your makeup, with your stories and your experiences and whatever, you can't change the patterns within yourself to make a difference. So It's really easy to like, oh yeah, I have the knowledge, or it's really easy to tell other people what to do or judge other people, but to do it for yourself takes a lot of awareness and consciousness. And so not only do you have to have that, first is safety. A lot of us as children either weren't taught it or didn't have the safety to express our emotions. And that's the expression versus repression. We repress everything. And then as we get older, we have these situations come up where we're still acting as that child. So we think, oh, you should be over it by now, or you should know what you're feeling. But if you weren't taught it, you can't do it. Just because you're 30 years older does not make a difference in your emotional understanding or IQ, I guess you call it. So you really have to understand that one. And two, create environments for yourself where you are safe, whether that's therapy, whether that's a relationship, whether that's literally just with yourself, meditating, figuring out. You have to have homeostasis or safety within your body to be able to be safe enough to start feeling some of these things, because a lot of times we go to our default, right? And I've talked about this in our group and a whole bunch of other places, but like my things when I was a child were fear and anxiety. That is all I knew. It's all I understood. And so when I get that feeling, and I'll talk about this a little, when I get that feeling in my stomach, clearly, oh, I know what that is. That's anxiety and that's fear. But as I got older and I experienced other things, I learned, hey, maybe that's not. Maybe that's anticipation. Maybe that's joy. Maybe that's excitement. Maybe it's nervousness. And those don't have to be bad things. But if that's the only lens that I look through everything at is fear and anxiety, then that's the signals that I get are always fear and anxiety.
Yeah, that's huge. And I feel like that applies to a lot of other areas of life too, right? Like it just depends on how we perceive the information, the facts, the evidence that we're receiving. It really plays a big role. So can we jump into, and I hate to put you on the spot, I'm so sorry, but you are the guru. Can we talk about what the 8 core emotions are so that like those out there that may not know or might just be entering this conversation have a good base?
Well, let me give the disclaimer that, and I'll talk about it later, but one of the workshops that I run is called Emotions, Feelings, and Perceptions. It's understanding the difference between the three. They can be interchangeable. There's no hard and fast rule. It depends what science you follow or whatever, but traditionally it's pretty agreed that there's 8 core emotions that we feel. And those are, just because it's easier, sadness, anger, trust, fear, disgust, anticipation, joy, and surprise. Okay. So those things are your core emotions. And then every other thing that we experience can be a feeling associated to one of those. Mm-hmm. And the difference between that being is that the emotions are physiological, natural, biological responses that we have to something that happens. They are not good. They are not bad. They are just part of us as a human being. It's part of our makeup. And there's signals. Yeah, that's it. It's a signal. It's feedback. It's the feeling that we have subsequently that we tie to it. And that's what we continue to experience. The emotion itself, typically in your body, the way it works, usually comes and goes pretty quickly. So for instance, you see a threat, you're walking down the street, you see a shadow, or you see what you perceive as somebody coming up to you. And then you go, oh, that was just my kid, or, oh, it was just a shadow, or whatever. You have that physiological response. Your safety kicks in, your body's doing what it's supposed to do for you. And then you go, oh, threat perceived. It's okay. It's all right. You come back down. That could be where it ends. That could be just the body having an emotion and processing it. But if I've been scared before, if I have been attacked before, if I am in a different headspace about something, if I perceive a threat, whatever it is that I have had that has happened to me before now comes into that emotion. And we attach it to it. So instead of just having our body calm back down, now we continue. We bring it into the night. We bring it into the next day. We bring it into the next week. I was so scared. This thing happens. I'm always so scared. Why can't I ever feel safe? La, da, da, da. And
right. We call up our friends and we prolong the story. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but we prolong the story over and over and over again to anybody who will listen.
Yeah. And then now we have that feeling kind of stored in us, and we like to kind of talk about it and keep it going because we want to deal with it. We want to talk about it, but we don't know how. So we call it back up, and now we have perceptions. Now we have things that happen, and like, oh, this always happens to me, or oh, it's going to happen again. And now we develop the different negative thinking about it. So there's a difference between all three things. And if we can really start to zoom out a little bit and understand and make connections about the difference between the three, then it really helps us not only gain knowledge about our bodies and the signals that it's trying to tell us and how they look for us, but also to stop that story, that repetitive story. Hey, I'm okay. I'm safe in this moment. This was XYZ. It's not happening anymore. Or if something is continuing to happen, you can always tell yourself, I'm safe, I'm okay. Just because this emotion came up doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me. It doesn't mean that I'm doing something wrong. This is a natural thing. It's the difference between I am anxious and I'm experiencing anxiety. When you label yourself the emotion like there's something wrong with it, then that's when you start to really feel negative about it. But if you say, hey, I'm experiencing anxiety, it makes sense that I have anxiety because this. Thank you, body, for letting me know something's off. Let me look into this. Let me do a little digging. And it doesn't mean that it's going to go away right away. None of this makes it all go away. That's not the goal. The goal is to be able to understand where it's coming from, make sense of it, make connections, go into ourselves, figure out what we need to do to process it, and then move through it, as opposed to just shoving it down or repressing it or acting like we're not feeling it and then having shame or guilt or disgust because we feel it in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in your experience, I know that you run this workshop, which again, we're not having this conversation enough. So thank you so much for supporting women out there and for having this conversation with women. But what kinds of, do you see anything repetitive with the people that you have that come into the workshops with maybe things that they're struggling with? Are they struggling with naming their emotions? Are they struggling with mixed emotions and kind of, compartmentalizing those in order to attack each one separately? Is that even a thing?
Yeah, there's a lot, all of the above. You have people that like we talked about a moment ago, that only see things out of this lens. Mm-hmm. And so they're not opening themselves up to the possibility that all these other things I could be feeling and I need to be feeling. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of people like me who are very sensitive and emotional, and so they've been labeled a certain way, and so they've carried that with them forever. So they're having all of this emotion, they're not successfully or effectively expressing it or dealing with it, and so they think something's wrong with them, or they just think that I'm so emotional, why am I so emotional? Well, you're emotional about these emotions, but you're not even experiencing or dealing with these ones. So it sounds counterintuitive, but I say if you're willing to feel more, these feelings will go down. But that's a really crazy prospect to think like, oh, you want me to feel more? You want me to tap into my emotions more? I already feel way overwhelmed with what I'm feeling. But I say, we can get out of this story a little bit and think about things differently and experience that's why during the workshop, we'll go through the emotions. How do they show up in you? Not what does anger look like in your dad or on TV or whatever. How does it show up in you? Because that tingling in my stomach that I experienced, for me, that's anxiety. For someone else, it could be like excitement. It could be totally different. So you can't go off of anyone else. It has to be. That's the importance of getting in a room with someone and connecting with them, is helping them, not teaching them. I love to teach. That's my background, and I'll always do that. But the goal is to sit with you and have you make connections, and you go into here and say, this is what it looks like for me. It's okay. I can allow it. I can accept it. I can let it be. I can understand it. I can name it, and then I can deal with it. As opposed to like, I'm just so emotional and nobody understands me, because we get stuck in this story that like, I don't like to use the word victim because it has a negative connotation, but I was a victim for many years and I fall back into that easily. It doesn't mean necessarily the world's out to get me, poor me. It just means that we replay the idea that like something's wrong with me, or it's always hard, or nobody understands me, or I'm alone. And we tell
someone's out to get me.
Yes. And we believe it. That's our perception. And so it's important to raise your hand. I know your group is so important for that. Raise your hand and say something. Is because really the biggest step forward into change is just realizing you're not alone. Like realizing the thing that you think you're crazy for thinking, someone else, millions of other people feel that way. And that's just that piece is enough to like be able to let your guard down and be like, oh, maybe I'm not so crazy, you know?
Being seen and heard. We've talked about it on our pod that we, the one that we do regularly a couple of times now. Being seen and heard is so giant. And I think people don't realize, especially if they've kind of gone through life not being seen and heard, they don't realize how much of a huge positive impact such a seemingly small thing like being seen and heard really has on you. And I personally went through that.
But we make it so external, which is important. You need to be seen and heard in the relationship that you're in with the people around you. It is important. But if you are at the edge, like you asked at the beginning, it didn't happen as a kid, you're going through it now, you almost have to reparent yourself. You almost have to treat yourself as if you're 6 again and say, how do we see and hear ourselves? Because we can't expect other people to do it for us. A, if we're not communicating our needs and not expressing them. And B, if we're not willing to do the work ourselves. We can't just rely on someone else to fix us or someone else to soothe us or make us feel better. Now, some of you might have gotten super lucky or whatever, or you picked just an awesome partner, and he's there for you, and he's sensitive, and he shows up even though you weren't modeled that in child. And I love that for you. That's great. But you still have to learn. There will still be something in here in your root that causes you to not feel safe or not feel secure if you can't do it for yourself. And for many of us, we end up choosing partners that just further and further and further validate, I'm not seen, I'm not heard, I'm alone. And we spend years in a house with someone feeling completely and utterly alone, unseen, and unheard.
And thinking it's normal.
Yeah. Or that there's something wrong with you.
Right.
And then sometimes you may start, either you internalize it and then you beat yourself up, or you may take it out on other people. And for moms, a lot of the time it comes out as explosion on my kids, overreaction on my kids, because I'm not taking the time or the space to listen to myself and figure out what I'm thinking, what I need, how to respond, lovingly. And so I can't do that for them. And then you beat yourself up for doing that because that's not how you want to show up, but you do it without even thinking about it.
Right. Now I'm a bad mom because I did that. So I'm just going to layer that on top of everything else that I'm feeling. And I know, Miranda, that this is such a long conversation, and diving into each one of these emotions is a conversation in and of itself. And I want you to share the details of your workshop. But before you do that, share it with our audience. Before you do that, my last question is, this actually weighs pretty heavy on my heart because I've had this conversation quite a bit. Oftentimes women will message me, from our group, or maybe I'll see them at lunch or whatever it is that we have going on with MOMnation, and they'll get real vulnerable with me. And a couple of times I've had the conversation, I don't feel joy. I don't even know what that's like. Are you bumping into that at all?
Yeah. A lot of times we develop a core belief that we're not good enough, that we have to earn love and we can never earn it. No matter what we do, it's never enough. I'm not deserving of love. We develop these coping mechanisms and these things that we do to try and protect ourselves, and we still don't feel loved. So we think that we're not capable of it because I think we block ourselves from it. Whether it's punishment, whether it's I don't deserve it, whether it's just inability to accept it. And so that is not, I always say there is no switch that you flip. It's a long process.
Yeah.
Just listening to this right now is a step in that process before you show up to a group or before you put your hand, there's so many steps. So that's the first thing is there's no easy road to this. And the more you feel, the more you will feel, because the more, and I'm going through this, I'm still doing this. The more I deal with, I dealt with my second divorce and the aftermath of that. Okay. Now my brain's like, okay, you're safe. Let's go to the first divorce and deal with the shit from there. Okay. Yeah. Now let's go back to 19 and deal with this thing. It's almost like there's a waiting room and there's just things that you have not dealt with that are sitting there and waiting for their number to come up. And so that prospect can feel really heavy and really scary. So the more you feel, the more you're going to feel. But you have to go through that stuff to start to crack open. And so we can let the light in a little bit. We can let some of that joy in a little bit. And the more we crack open, the better we feel, the faster we go through these things. But if you're not willing to sit with any of it, then we can't really get to that joy, because you have to uncover, pull off all the other shit from the people, the expectations, and all of it. You have to be able to work through it, and you have to believe that you are enough. You're worthy of it. You deserve it. You have this one life. Choose your hard. Do you want the hard to continue to live in the hell that you live in every single day in here? Or do you want the hard that opens up your heart and starts to change how you show up in the world and how your relationships look and how you feel? Like, I would much rather live in this hard than this hard.
Yeah, totally. And from my experience, feelings are there and they're going to come out somehow.
Oh, yeah.
So either they're going to come out in ways that probably are displeasing to you and, are upsetting to your scenario, or you're going to process them. One or the other, right?
And there can be a lot of grief and a lot of guilt that comes up there because, oh my God, I can't believe I did it this way for so many years. I can't believe I allowed someone to treat me like this in a marriage for so many years. I can't believe I yelled at my kids for so many years. And so that in itself is a process because you have to have major grace and compassion for yourself for doing that. And then that opens up, have you ever been in public when someone goes on a tirade and yells at someone or gets emotional or flips someone off?
Yeah.
That allows you to kind of pull back and go, man, what must they be going through right now? Or look at this, the 6-year-old in them coming out and pouting right now because they didn't get their way. And have sympathy and empathy for that, as opposed to being like an asshole and then you're getting mad and then you're getting, there's so much grace and compassion that has to come into this. And it's like, if you didn't feel like you had it growing up, you just have to keep thinking about how would you do this for your child? Because you are doing it for your own inner child.
Agreed. Love it. What about your workshops? Let's share that a little bit, and then how to contact you.
Yeah,
because I know there's somebody out there I got to talk to this girl.
Talk to me. Because of Katie, I've done Here Comes the Sunshine for a while. I have a background in teaching, coaching, and so I'm not a therapist. I'm not a licensed therapist, but I also do work in therapeutic certification. So I have that kind of knowledge. So what I try and do is put everything together, the somatic work, how you're feeling in your body, mixed with the guiding and coaching to kind of set goals and set intentions and tweaking along the way. So because of your group, I've been able to come up with Mindful Mamas because there has to be a place for women to show up other than just Facebook, other than just up behind a screen, because it's great. It's amazing, but you're still kind of hiding, or you're still, maybe not connecting. So I'm like, what if we have a space? So because of your space, now I have a space where women can show up. So you can come monthly online, or Farm to Pharmacy, who's a great juice and coffee shop and just healing centered place in Chandler that's women owned, is allowing me to doing work there starting this Sunday. Yay. So I know. So here is amazing. If you hear this, I love you. You are helping our community. And she's just invested. She's invested in women in particular growing. So on Sunday, this Sunday is our first open group. So it's just Mindful Mamas group, support, compassion. Maybe you've never done anything like this before and it terrifies you. You don't have to say anything. You can just show up and listen. But it's kind of like, they have the AA for a reason, so that people can show up and just be seen and be heard and be validated. And that's what this is for moms. So that space is open to you. If you want to come, I would love to have you. And then at the end of, then that's free. That's just a place because I feel that needs there. But at the end of every month, I'm going to do a different workshop in a series to help people learn tangible steps that they can incorporate. So the first one is going to be emotions, feelings, and perceptions. We're going to walk through kind of what I talked about way more in depth, but we're also going to go through the core emotions. We're also going to talk about how they show up in you, so that you can take it home and then continue that work with yourself and learning about yourself. And then, just being in the group and sharing is so impactful. So I do all of that. And then I also do one-on-one sessions with people. If you're looking to just, I need a mindset shift. I need to get out of my rut. I need to look at my emotions. I just need to be seen and heard. I need some compassion. I need perspective. I'm very open in the work that I do, and what is it that you need? And let's deal with the emotions that are coming up behind it, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. I love it. And I can personally vouch, I've known Miranda for a little while now, and you just heard all of the things that we do together. So I know her, guys. Definitely check her out. And to make it easy for you, I put her link in the show notes. Yeah. So
here comes the sunshine.com. Here comes the sunshine on Instagram. And as always, if you're on Facebook, you can DM me anytime.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Miranda. And if you guys want to check out any of our previous episodes, I was actually talking to somebody the other day, and I was talking about the Live and Learn podcast. This one's probably the oldest one. And I was looking at the playlist, and there are well over 100 live and learn videos, maybe even close to 200 now, honestly. I know, it's like a whole library, and it's pretty cool because it's all amazing women just like you. We have a couple of men sprinkled in there. Okay. We like men too. They're okay.
Yeah, they need help too.
They have things to teach us, right? And so it's mostly women, but a couple of men sprinkled in there, and some really great topics, things that you can learn quickly, implement into your life right away, just like this with Miranda. I highly suggest that you check her out. And if you want to check out any of our previous episodes, over on our YouTube channel is where you're going to find us. It is at MOMnation USA. That's our handle. Scroll down just a little ways. You see a couple of things. You're going to see many playlists because, like we talked about, I do this a lot. One of them is going to be your live and learn playlist, and that is here in red. And then also check Miranda out on Untying the Knot. That is our other podcast, a little bit newer, but we do have a couple of episodes out. There's a playlist there for it, and that one is in blue. On your favorite podcast platform, a quick search for MOMnation Talk Radio. There you will find us. Click the little bell so that way you get notifications every single time we have a new pod drop, and you will never miss a beat. Thank you so much, Miranda. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Looking to buy or sell in Arizona's hottest neighborhoods? Meet Team EvoAZ, your Arizona real estate experts, driven by data, powered by passion. Meet Matthew Lambert and Katie Holly Lambert, the powerhouse duo behind Team EvoAZ at eXp Realty. With their talented team of agents, they're making Arizona real estate personal and powerful. Trusted, tenacious, Team EvoAZ. Team EvoAZ offers full-service real estate, powered by strategy, experience, heart, and a passion for helping people move forward. Ready to make your move? Visit www.evoaz.com and follow us on social media to connect with us.